AI is like the word on everyone's lips these days.
Yeah, it's everywhere you look.
But put them together, AI and podcast. OMG AI.
Catchy, right?
Definitely attention grabbing.
Yeah, and it tells you something about how people see AI, you know?
Definitely a sense of buckle up.
A little bit of awe, a little bit of, oh my God, what's next?
Exactly. Makes you wonder if we're ready for a podcast like OMG AI.
Maybe, maybe not. All right, so you want to dive into this whole quantum thing, huh? See if it's really the next big wave. We've got a whole bunch of articles and research piled up here ready to go. And our mission is to figure out if this is all hype or if quantum computing is the real deal, especially with AI already changing so fast.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, and I think all signs point to yes.
Okay, so like what signs? What makes you so sure that this isn't just like, a bunch of hype? What makes you think quantum is really going to be the next big thing?
Well, for one thing, the potential impact on the economy is just massive.
Oh, yeah.
Like huge. One of our sources here, quantum computing, Microsoft, Amazon, and the future of AI predicts that it could add $1 trillion to the global economy by 2035.
Whoa. Okay, so that's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. And the market itself is predicted to grow like crazy, something like 48.1% every single year between 2023 and 2028.
Wow, those are some serious numbers.
It is.
So it sounds like this isn't just, professors and researchers talking about this anymore.
It's moving out of the labs and into the real world, and it's happening fast.
Well, you mentioned AI, and I think everybody knows that AI is already changing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like even faster than we can keep up with. So
yeah.
How does quantum computing fit into all of that? Like, is it going to make AI even more powerful?
Absolutely. It's a really crucial point.
Yeah.
AI is powerful, but it's still limited by, the computers we have today, the classical computers.
Right, yeah.
Quantum computers are completely different. It's like comparing a speedboat to a rocket ship.
Ooh, okay, I like that analogy.
Both are fast, but the potential is on a completely different scale.
Okay, I'm starting to get it.
Good.
But I got to be honest, whenever I hear the word quantum, my brain kind of just shuts down.
Haha, I hear ya.
Can we break it down? What is quantum computing in simple terms?
For sure. The key difference is in how they store information.
Okay.
Regular computers use bits, which are either a 0 or a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum computers use qubits, which can be both 0 and 1 at the same time.
Wait a minute. How can something be two things at once? That doesn't make sense.
I know, it's mind-bending, isn't it? It's because of this principle called superposition.
Superposition.
Superposition. Yeah, it's not like a light switch that's on or off. It's more like a wave that can be in multiple places at the same time.
Okay, that's a little easier to visualize.
Right. And this superposition thing is what lets quantum computers tackle problems in a totally different way than regular computers can.
So it's not just about speed. It's about thinking differently.
Exactly. Imagine trying to find your way out of a maze. A regular computer would have to try every path one at a time, but a quantum computer using superposition could explore all the paths simultaneously.
Oh, wow. So it's like having a bird's eye view of the whole maze.
Exactly. And then you've got these other crazy quantum principles like entanglement, where qubits get linked together, and decoherence, which is basically when the quantum state gets messed up.
Okay, so we've got these amazing qubits and this whole new way of processing information. But what about this quantum chip war I keep hearing about? What's that all about? And, why should we care?
You're right to bring that up. It's not just theory anymore. Companies are competing to be the leader in quantum computing, and that's pushing things forward incredibly fast. You've probably seen the headlines about Amazon and Microsoft making big moves.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to miss. So what are they up to? What's all the fuss about?
Well, let's start with Amazon. They just announced their first-generation quantum chip called Ocelot.
Ocelot, that's a cool name.
It is, and what's really interesting is the way it's designed. It combines cat qubits, which are good for storing information, with transmon qubits, which are better for error correction.
Error correction, is that a big problem with quantum computers?
Oh, it's one of the biggest hurdles. Qubits are super sensitive to their environment. Any little disturbance can cause errors. Think of it like trying to balance a spinning coin on its edge. Any tiny vibration will knock it over.
Right.
Ocelot's design is all about managing that sensitivity and making the system more stable.
So even though it can't do really complex calculations, yet it's kind of laying the groundwork for more practical quantum computers in the future.
Exactly. Now let's talk about Microsoft. Their entry is called Majorana 1, and it's seriously ambitious. They're aiming to fit 1 million qubits on a single chip.
A million? How is that even possible?
They're using this new material called a topoconductor. Think of it like the transistor for the quantum age. It allows for qubits that are more reliable and easier to scale up.
So it's like a major breakthrough.
Yeah, Microsoft thinks this could lead to breakthroughs in all sorts of areas, like breaking down microplastics or creating self-healing materials. They're really aiming high.
Wow. It's almost hard to believe. But what about Google? Haven't they been doing a lot of work in this area too?
Absolutely. They've got their own player in the game called the Willow chip, and one of the most impressive things about it is how it reduces errors as it gets bigger, as it uses more qubits.
So is Google winning this quantum chip war?
It's not really about winning, it's more about all these different approaches and how much progress is being made across the board. What's really cool about Willow is its performance. It managed to complete a really complex benchmark calculation in less than 5 minutes, something that would take one of today's fastest supercomputers 10 septillion years to do.
10 septillion years. That's like mind-boggling. But let's bring this back down to earth for a second. What does this quantum chip war actually mean for like the average person? Why should they care about all of this?
It means that the age of quantum computing is closer than we might think. All these companies are pouring tons of money and resources into developing this technology, which means we're getting closer and closer to seeing it used to solve real-world problems that are just impossible for even the most powerful computers we have today.
It's exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It's a lot to take in.
Like, should we be panicking?
No need to panic. It's totally understandable to feel overwhelmed, but it's important to remember that quantum computing is still in its early stages. You know, we're not talking about some overnight revolution. This is going to be a gradual evolution of how we solve problems.
Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Right.
But with all this talk about a new era, it's hard not to feel like I'm falling behind. You know,
Yeah.
What can we do to like stay ahead of the curve, especially those of us who aren't, scientists or engineers?
That's a great question and one that a lot of people are asking. And I think the most important thing is just cultivate a mindset of continuous learning.
Okay, but how do you do that? Like, where do you even begin?
Well, start by feeding your curiosity. There are so many resources available online, from like introductory articles and videos to more in-depth courses. You don't need a PhD in physics to understand the basics of quantum computing.
So it's more about just like dipping your toes in the water, trying different things and seeing what clicks for you.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment. Remember, we talked about IBM's Qiskit platform earlier.
Yeah.
It's a great way to play around with quantum programming. Even if you're not a coder, it's a really fun way to kind of demystify quantum computing.
Okay, that sounds cool. But beyond just like understanding the technology, how can we prepare for its impact on our lives? Like our careers and stuff.
That's a smart question. Think about the industries you're interested in or the skills you have. How might quantum computing disrupt or enhance those areas? Like, for example, if you're in finance, you could start exploring how quantum algorithms could change things like risk management or portfolio optimization.
So it's about connecting the dots between this like really complex technology and our own, individual situations.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of networking. Connect with other people who are interested in quantum computing. Go to webinars, join online communities. The more you immerse yourself in this world, the better prepared you'll be for the changes that are coming.
It's all about embracing that curiosity and working together, right?
Absolutely. And remember, you don't have to become an expert overnight. It's about gradually learning more and adapting your skills as the technology develops.
We've talked a lot about the potential benefits of quantum computing, but I kind of want to address the elephant in the room, like the fear factor.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in all the hype and start worrying about our jobs being replaced by robots or like quantum computers taking over the world.
I get it. It's a natural reaction, but I think it's important to approach this with a balanced perspective. Quantum computing is a tool just like any other technology. It can be used for good or bad, and it's up to us to guide its development and make sure it's used ethically.
So instead of freaking out, we should focus on using quantum computing to make a positive impact.
Exactly. See it as an opportunity to solve some of the world's biggest problems, like developing new medicines or creating sustainable energy solutions, or even just understanding the universe better.
I like that a lot. It's about embracing the future with a sense of optimism and responsibility.
I couldn't have said it better myself. The future is quantum, and it's up to us to shape it.
All right, so we've talked about what quantum computing is and like why it's such a big deal, but now I think we got to get practicals. What can our listeners actually do to get ready for this quantum future?
That's the question everyone's asking, right? And there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
But I think the most important thing is to just stay curious, stay informed, keep learning.
Okay, but that's kind of vague. How do you actually DO that? Where do you even start?
Well, just start by feeding your curiosity. There are tons of resources out there online from beginner-friendly articles and videos to more in-depth courses. You don't need to be a physicist to get the basics of quantum computing.
So it's more about just like exploring and finding what works for you.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get hands-on. We mentioned IBM's Qiskit before.
Yeah.
You can actually play around with quantum programming on there, even if you're not a coder.
Yeah.
It's a really cool way to kind of demystify the whole thing.
That sounds like fun. But like beyond just understanding the tech, how can we get ready for how it's going to impact our lives, like our jobs and stuff?
That's a really good point. Think about the industries you're interested in or the skills you have. How could quantum computing change those things? Like, let's say you work in finance. You could look into how quantum algorithms could totally revolutionize risk management or portfolio optimization.
So it's about connecting the dots between this super complex tech and our own personal situations.
Exactly. And don't forget about networking. Talk to other people who are into quantum computing, go to webinars, join online groups. The more you immerse yourself in this world, the better prepared you'll be for the changes that are coming.
It's all about being curious and working together, right?
Totally. And remember, you don't have to become an expert overnight. Just keep learning little by little and adapt your skills as the tech evolves.
We've talked a lot about the potential upsides of quantum computing, but I want to talk about the elephant in the room for a sec, the fear. It's easy to get caught up in all the hype and start worrying about robots taking our jobs or like quantum computers taking over the world.
I understand that it's a natural reaction, but I think we need to keep things in perspective. Quantum computing is just a tool like any other technology. It can be used for good or bad, and it's up to us to make sure it's used for good.
So instead of freaking out, we should focus on using quantum computing to make the world a better place.
Exactly. Think of it as an opportunity to solve some of the biggest problems we're facing, like developing new medicines or finding sustainable energy solutions, or even just understanding the universe better.
That's a really inspiring way to think about it, embracing the future with a sense of optimism and responsibility.
I couldn't have said it better myself. The future is quantum, and it's up to all of us to shape it.
And on that note, I want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the world of quantum computing.
It's been my pleasure.
It's been a wild ride, and I hope you've come away with a better understanding of both the challenges and the amazing potential of this technology. So stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. And until next time, keep exploring the fascinating world of quantum.